questions which we just received some. So there was, let's start with the most early one. So this one is about tawassul. The following question was asked by you that I couldn't defend without just saying I have faith in it due to the respect I have for the A'immah and for their closeness to and for their closeness to the Almighty. Please help me answer it with more conviction. He's asking how tawassul is allowed as you are asking through the A'immah to help you get your dua answered. What's the point?
Tawassul is to be discussed in two different levels. One is whether it is shirk or not. Second is whether it is useful or not. Wahhabis and some people, might say that, this is shirk. But the truth is that this is not shirk. If I go to doctor and ask for help, is it shirk? If I go to teacher and say, teach me, I want to learn, is it shirk? If I go to an engineer and say, help me with building my house, is it shirk? No, this is not shirk. Why? Because I, as a believer, know that these people are not independent. But at the same time, I know that Allah has created this world in the way that there are causes and effects, there are agents, there are conditions, obstacles, etc. So if I ask doctor to help me independent from Allah, this is shirk. But if as a believer I ask doctor to help me, I know that shifa comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some people say yes, you can ask, for example, the Prophet for help as long as he's alive, but if he dies, you should not ask. I say if something is shirk, whether that person is alive or not doesn't make difference. If it is shirk, shirk is always shirk. The maximum that they may say is that this is useless. It's not shirk, but it's useless. Just ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't ask anyone. Say, okay, Allah himself is referring people to his prophets and his awliya. Why? For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ إِذْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ جَاءُوكَ فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا اللَّهَ وَاسْتَغْفَرَ لَهُمُ الرَّسُولُ لَوَجَدُوا اللَّهَ تَوَّابًا رَحِيمًا. Why it says when they have done zulm to themselves, if they come to you and ask Allah to forgive them, and you ask Allah to forgive them, they would find Allah very forgiving. Or why, sons of Yaqub asked Prophet Yaqub to help them with maghfirah, and he said, سَوْفَ أَسْتَغْفِرُ لَكُمْ رَبِّي. He didn't say this is shirk. You should ask yourself only. So, this is not shirk. This is recommended by Quran and Hadith. And we have also things that our Sunni brothers have said that during the life of the Prophet, even after the life of the Prophet, the companions used to do tawassul to the Prophet. So for us, tawassul is not only not conflicting and contradicting Tawheed, indeed it is a manifestation of Tawheed, because we know that Allah is the only one who is running and maintaining this world, and we ask him for those that Allah has a special regard for them to intercede for us, or we ask Allah to give us because of them. Sometimes we ask them to ask Allah on our behalf. Sometimes we ask Allah because of them. In any case, we are asking Allah, and we are so much aware of our shortcomings and our weakness that we think, we can ask people who are closer to Allah, or we can ask Allah because of those who are closer to Him to have favor upon us. Everything is a matter of Allah. Allah, His awliya, dua, servants of Allah, talking to Allah, asking for His favor. Everything is Tawheed.
Thank you, Shahna. Regarding the surah of Munafiqeen, the question is, how did the Prophet deal with Munafiqeen? The sentence that's written here is, he had not blamed anyone as Munafiq. Maybe we can say the question is, how did the Prophet deal with the Munafiqeen? Did he call any of them out? Or in general, what was his policy with the Munafiqeen?
Actually, I was not sure whether I should mention this or not in the discussion. That the discussion here about Munafiqeen is very marginal, because this was not the topic. Just as a point about unity he mentioned, and this is why I didn't mention everything which is in the book about Munafiqeen. There are some discussions in the book, because I think they have to be studied all together in a comprehensive way. It's very kind of time consuming to offer a comprehensive account of what Rasulullah did with Munafiqeen in different occasions, and also what we should do to Munafiqeen. So I didn't deliberately mention some of the things, because I realized that this is just a side point, and he is not here talking that much about Munafiqeen. He's just referring, for the sake of discussion about unity, to Munafiqeen. So if I want to answer to your question, we need to have a time that we bring all these verses together and try to understand what would be a general response to Munafiqeen, because you cannot take from one or two or three incidents a general picture or image.
Thank you. Who has the responsibility to extend the hand for unity, the majority or the minority?
All have to do this, and maybe majority more even, because majority, because they have a strengths and they have confidence, maybe they are expected as a sign of gratitude to their strengths to take the initiative for unity. But minority also should not wait. So every person has to do it, but I think those who have more influence, more power, more number, they have more responsibility. For example, if there is a Muslim state with minority of Christians, both should work for unity, but here Muslims should be more careful, because they have majority and they have a state. If there is a state, majority are Christians and minority are Muslims, here Christian majority are expected to take the initiative, because they are more, they have this, they're established, but Muslims also should say. So everyone should try, but people with more power, more influence, more institutions, people who are more established are expected to do more.
We have two direct questions here in the chat. Sheikh Hamaz, can we take them?
Bismillah.
So this one is as follows. Assalamu alaikum, dear Sheikh
Alaykum
Shomali.
assalam wa rahmatullah.
And thank you for the discussion today. Based on the conversation today, should Shia believers and scholars have a formal approach to study the Torah and the Bible, the Injil, of course, besides studying the Quran and the Hadith?
Scholars, yes. Believers, depending on their level of understanding and knowledge, and how much they can discern, but scholars certainly they must, and they do. We have, alhamdulillah, we have many comparative studies. For example, just in our institute in Qom, we have had many dissertations on topics based on the Quran and the Bible. So we should know, and there are people also who do degrees in comparative religion or just Christianity, just Judaism, etc. Lots of work, alhamdulillah, is happening, but the lay people, they have to see how much they understand their background, their priorities, etc.
Thank you. And the last question is about the followership series. It is said that the best followers are the best candidates for leadership, and it seems to be a common sense across the cultures. But how then do we differentiate between following and the imitation of following for the sake of gaining power? What are the criteria?
Of course, one of the characteristics of followers is sincerity. So they have to be sincere, they have to be loyal. So if someone with sincerity, with loyalty, with humility is following the leader and tries to make the leader able to achieve his goals, that they sacrifice even maybe their life for the success of the leader, then if they remain after the leader, such people are in a better position to continue the same line. But if a follower is trying to gain power through this is not a good follower. Follower has to be sincere, selfless, and I think this is actually the way that you can really benefit from wisdom of a leader or teacher. The best time you can learn from someone is when you love them and you give significance to what they do, what they say. You think there must be a wisdom behind it, maybe, even if you are not 100%, but you say, I know this person is careful, this person is wise. So you try to pay attention to everything and learn. And then if you remain, you are in a very good position to continue with the same spirit.
Thank you very much, Sheikh.
You're welcome.
So, inshallah, we now have gone to the last part, the last part, where we like to share some greetings. I'll start with some of the written ones that we have.